Well, hello guys, welcome back to another video, and I believe that this month is International Women's Month. So, as you've read the title, I will be showing you all my banknotes that feature women on them. Women that have contributed something to the countries that are mentioned in here, and these are great women, by the way, and these are very well-known women, both locally in their countries and actually even internationally. You may have known some of them, but I'm not going to spoil it all for you. So, here's all the banknotes that I have that feature women on them. The first banknote we have in this is Argentina. So the woman on the front is Eva Perón. She was an Argentine politician, activist and actress, and she was also a philanthropist. And she was the first lady of Argentina from June 1946 until her death in 1952. She was the wife of President Juan Perón. Up next we have Dame Mary Gilmore. So Dame Mary Gilmore was an Australian writer and journalist known for her prolific contributions to Australian literature and the broader national discourse. She wrote both prose and poetry. Her best known work is No Foe Shall Gather Our Harvest, which served as a morale booster during World War II. Now actually, in the microprint security feature right here, you could see some excerpts from her work, No Foe Shall Gather Our Harvest. Now on the front features a guy, but on the back is a woman. And I love how Australia does this with their banknotes. They feature two people at the same time in one banknote. Up next is Mary Ryby, or Ryby, from Australia again. So Mary Ryby, or Ryby, was actually an English-born merchant. She was also a ship owner and trader who was transported to Australia as a convict. After gaining her freedom, she was viewed by her contemporaries as a community role model and became legendary as a successful businesswoman in the colony. Now, what was she even arrested for? Well, she was actually arrested for stealing a horse back in August of 1791. And at the time she was actually disguised as a boy and was going under the name of James Burrow. Up next we have Canada with their $10 banknote. This is one of my favorite banknotes, and on the front features Viola Desmond, or Viola Irene Desmond. She was a Canadian civil and women's rights activist and businesswoman of black Nova Scotian descent. In 1946, she challenged racial segregation at the cinema in New Glasgow in Nova Scotia by refusing to leave a whites-only area of the Roseland Theatre. For this, she was convicted of a minor tax violation for the 1 cent tax difference between the seat that she had paid for and the seat that she used, which was more expensive. Desmond's case is one of the most publicized incidents of racial discrimination in Canadian history and helped start the modern civil rights movement in Canada. Up next is the Cypriot £1 banknote. Now there's no information about the woman, unfortunately, but she is wearing a traditional Cypriot dress. That's the only thing that was described here. Anyways, moving on to the next banknote. We have letter I with Indonesia. So on the front we have Cut Mutia, or Mutia, or Cutnya Mutia. So she's currently an Indonesian national hero, and basically she fought off the Dutch in the province of Aceh, but in 1905 she was caught by the Dutch and she was put in jail, and then she was shot dead by them in 1906. Up next is Italy with their 1000 lira banknote. Now, you are probably familiar with this. So in here we have Maria Montessori, or Maria Tecla Artemisia Montessori. She was an Italian physician and educator, best known for her philosophy of education the Montessori method, and her writing on scientific pedagogy. At an early age, Montessori enrolled in classes at an all-boys technical school with hopes of becoming an engineer. She soon had a change of heart and began medical school at Sapienza University of Rome, becoming one of the first women to attend medical school in Italy. She graduated with honors in 1896. Her educational method is in use globally in many public and private schools around the world. So, if you don't know yet, she, well, actually, the Montessori schools came from her. And I was wondering before, I used to wonder before, I thought Montessori was like the name of the school, but Montessori school is actually the system of the school and also the name of the school. And we're really thankful to have that system in the modern and present world. And it's all because of one woman. Up next we have Sweden. So here we have Selma Lagerlöf. She was a Swedish writer. She published her first novel, Gustav Sperling Saga, at the age of 33. She was the first woman to win the Nobel Prize in Literature, and she was awarded in 1909. In 1914, she was the first woman to be granted a membership of the Swedish Academy. Now, a little fun fact about her. I was reading in personal life and I saw relationships come up in the first one. Well, actually, it's only relationships here. So, here it says in 1894 she met the Swedish writer Sophie Elkan, who became her friend and companion. Over many years, Elkan and Lagerlöf critiqued each other's work. Lagerlöf wrote that Elkan strongly influenced her work and that she often disagreed sharply with the direction Lagerlöf wanted to take in her books. Lagerlöf's letters to Elkan were published in 1993 titled Du lär mig att bli fri, which means you teach me to be free. Now, some suggest that they had a romantic relationship, which means that this is probably the only queer woman on Swedish banknotes. Now, what I like about some other countries is that they feature queer people in their banknotes, like the UK, for example. They feature Alan Turing. He was a gay man, but he was castrated because he was gay, and that's the sad thing. But thankfully, they're honoring him through the £50 note. And he made a big impact during World War II because he made a computer that could decode what the Germans were saying. But yet they castrated him for being gay. That's how they paid him back after he helped them in World War II. It's just so sad. I think it's cool that these countries are putting queer people in their banknotes. And this just proves that no matter what your gender is, you can still make a big impact to your country. Let's move on to the next banknote, which is still in Sweden. So, you may have known this woman. This woman is Astrid Lindgren, or Astrid Anna Emilia Lindgren. So she was a Swedish writer of fiction and screenplays. She is most notable for several children's book series featuring Pippi Longstocking, Emil of Lönneberga, Carlson on the Roof, and the Six Bullerby Children, or Children of Noisy Village in the United States, and for the children's fantasy novels Mio, My Son, Ronia the Robber's Daughter, and The Brothers Lionheart. Lindgren worked on the children's literature editorial board at the Raben and Sjögren publishing house in Stockholm and wrote more than 30 books for children. In 2017, she was calculated to be the world's 18th most translated author. Lindgren, by 2010, sold roughly 167 million books worldwide. In 1994, she was awarded the Right Livelihood Award for her unique authorship dedicated to the rights of children and respect for their individuality. I'm so sorry. Her campaigning for animal welfare led to a new law, Lex Lindgren, in time for her 80th birthday. and you can see a motif of Pippi Longstocking in here, and in the microprint here you could see excerpts from the book itself, but we can't properly see it. You can say that, but I can't read it. The camera quality is kind of bad. And lastly, we have this banknote from Scotland. This is a real banknote, by the way. It's issued by a private bank, Royal Bank of Scotland. Now, these aren't actually legal tender, but they are widely accepted. So, there's like a technicality in this. So, Mary Somerville was a Scottish scientist, writer, and polymath. She studied mathematics and astronomy, and in 1835, she and Caroline Herschel were elected as the first female honorary members of the Royal Astronomical Society. So yeah, these are all the women featured in my banknotes that I've collected. Now these women have made a very big impact in their country, not just in their country, but in the world as well, by introducing methods of education. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you learned something new. I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.